Hey INFJs, so I was thinking about this video and what I wanted to talk about today with you guys, and the topic of healing came up, and that's such a huge topic, but more along the lines of where to start. As INFJs, we have so much healing to do for many of us that it becomes overwhelming when we're dealing with all the stories that we have made up about ourselves, that people have told us that we believe, the things, the experiences that have happened that we replay in our mind over and over again. And it becomes overwhelming to the point where we don't even know where to begin to heal. But we want to heal because it is draining and it's just too much. And we know it holds us back. So this is what I want to talk about today. I'm going to share my story. I'm going to be vulnerable, which, as you know, if you watch my videos, it's a scary thing for me. But that's okay. I'm working on it. Vulnerability is so important for an INFJ. That's something I'm working on. So I'm going to share my story of healing. I want to say it's like hitting rock bottom when I was just fed up and I was done with it and I just needed to heal because I knew what it was doing for me. It was not serving me. So I'm going to share my story. And I'm also going to share with you a great resource that I found that day that I had finally had enough and I just wanted to heal. It was amazing. This resource came across my YouTube. So I'm going to share the resource with you that I found to work so great. So welcome to my channel. If we haven't met before, my name's Trina. I'm an INFJ and I'm also autistic. I created this channel with hopes of helping people like myself feel seen, heard, understood, less alone. And I also help INFJs and autistic INFJs heal their self-love through coaching, courses, and community. I love sharing resources, so don't forget to check out the resources I shared in the description of this video. If you're new to my channel, welcome. I hope you find it helpful. If you're returning, I'm glad you came back. I'm grateful for all my viewers. I invite you, if you haven't yet, to subscribe to my channel and like this video. I would really appreciate the support. Before we get going, I do want to remind you that I've opened up registration for the INFJ meet and greet. This one's just a one-day event, not like the circle that runs all month. This one is just one day in December for about an hour, hour and a half. It's a virtual event where if you just want to meet INFJs, somebody that you can relate to, you can talk to, you're not going to feel judged or feel like the weirdest one in the room, this is a great place to start. It's a safe place to just share everything about INFJ life. We can talk, we can laugh. It's a lot of fun. I love connecting with people who are like myself. It is so beneficial. I live in a small town, so I never really met anybody that was quite like me, which really fed that thought of what is wrong with me. And when I began meeting other people like myself, INFJs, it opened up a whole new door, a whole new perspective of my life. Anyway, if you want more information on this, I'm rambling too much about it. Check out the description and the link in this video. Check out the description. I put the link in this video. You know what I mean, in the description of this video. The link's there for the meet and greet. Okay, now talking about healing. Oh, my story. Let's start with my story of healing. Let's start with me being vulnerable. It's very scary. I had a lot of healing to do. I was like a target for bullies all through school. School was not a safe place for me. I think back now, because I tell my kids that, you know, you're safe at school, you're okay there. And I have a hard time telling them that, even though they go, like my son goes to a fantastic school. He is very safe. It's not run like the schools I went to at all. But my subconscious is like, no, that's not a safe place at all. That was like the worst experience of my life at school. And I also had a number of family members that were not super nice to me. So I was constantly growing up, I was constantly put down, told how ugly I was. I was called fat, even though I wasn't fat. I was told how stupid I was kicked, I was punched, spit on. You know, you get it. You get it, right? All those wonderful things. And it was because I was super quiet. I was a watcher. I didn't talk a whole lot. I still can be very quiet. In fact, when I was in high school, and like I said, I grew up in a small town, so the kids that I went to kindergarten with, I was in high school with all those years. And I remember standing in a group of them, and they were talking about something. I don't remember what it was. And I said something, and they all just turned, and their mouths were open, and they were looking at me like, and they said, the one kid looked at me and said, "Oh my God, you can talk? We thought you were mute all these years." So I was the watcher. I was the weird kid that stood back and complete target for bullying, because I was quiet, I was put into like a special needs classroom, which really fed that self-doubt and the questioning of what was wrong with me. This was all different levels of trauma, right? And then I got really sick when I was 11 and I almost died. So another trauma. So I had a lot of healing to do. And then in my adult life, it didn't really stop. Like, that's the thing. When you're like a target for bullies, it doesn't stop when you become an adult. It continues because people, they're like, the bullies just grow into adults and they're still just nasty little people, right? And I had a supervisor that was bully, that was just a nasty person. And she called me names. I was stupid and lazy and incompetent. And when I asked about like promotions, I got laughed at and said I would never ever have success at this place of business. And it was just one thing after another. And all these stories would stick inside of me with this hurt. And I would create beliefs about myself that didn't serve me. And I was so tired of it. I had quit that job and I was working on myself a lot. I was doing a lot of personal development. And I knew that I had to heal. I knew that I had all of this hurt and I had to heal it. I didn't know how to do it. It became overwhelming because I had so much of it that I've packed with me my entire life that I didn't even know where to start. I didn't know. And it seemed like no matter what I did, it didn't help. I was still reliving these stories, these experiences. So I could get up in the morning and I always set the intention in the morning, this is going to be a great day. However, if I didn't control my thoughts, they would start ruminating about past experiences and start telling me things. And at this point, I was at home with my youngest son and I was trying to build my own business online. Well, it doesn't work very good if you're trying to be an entrepreneur, own your own business, when you have that much self-doubt and you think that little about yourself because of the past experiences, and then you start replaying those stories in your head. It really didn't serve me and it kept me stuck. So there I was one morning, I was driving my son to school and I was like, what is going on? Like, I could not grab a hold of my mind. It just kept replaying these stories in my head of all this past hurt and telling myself how stupid I was and I was a loser and I'm never going to amount to anything. And I was just tired of it. So one half of my brain was doing this and the other half was like, oh, I'm so tired of this. I just got to drop it, but I didn't know what to do. And I remember just, saying out loud to the universe, like, please help me. I need to heal. Like, this is enough. I'm done. I've tried all these things that people were telling me to do and following gurus and nothing was working. So please, I just need a little bit of help. So I dropped off my son and I came home and I opened up my YouTube because I was practicing meditation. Meditation's always been a struggle for me. So I was doing these guided meditations. And when I opened up my YouTube, there was a guided meditation for healing by an influencer called Colette Baron-Reed. I don't know if you know her. If you don't, she's super cool. If you're into the woo, if you're not, then you might not like her. But anyway, I thought, okay, healing. I was thinking like joint pain healing, but I thought, hey, you know what? Let's give it a try. Let's see what this is about. Well, it was amazing. It was a guided meditation she did, and it wasn't to heal on joint pain. It was to heal the hurt that you're packing with you from your life, right? Sorry, I've got like a frog in my throat. I think I'm getting a cold, so my voice is a bit cracky. But anyway, and she walked me through this meditation, and it was just amazing how I felt afterwards. I finally found a way to start healing. So that's my story about healing. I'm sharing the link to the guided meditation in the description. It's visualizing. What she does is she walks you through visualizing, unloading the hurt. So for her, it's picking up rocks in this meditation, all these dirty rocks that are blocking your path, because that's exactly what healing is like. That hurt that we pack with us, it's like all these dirty rocks that are blocking our path, right? And we're trying to heal them and we can't, and we just want to get over it. The thing we have to remember is healing doesn't happen like instantly. It doesn't happen even over a course of a few days. It happens over time. There are so many levels to healing that it happens over time. But if we're not seeing any light at the end of the tunnel, where those stories, if you're an INFJ, you know what I mean, those stories keep replaying in our heads and feeding those stories that we tell ourselves that we're no good and we're not going to meet somebody and whatever. Every time we relive those stories of that hurt, it's making those wounds much deeper, right? So it's making it seem like it's much harder to heal. And it happens, and we need to remember that it happens over time. It's not something that happens really quick, like the snap of the fingers and, oh, we're healed. It's a process. It's a journey. I like to call it a journey. But with all of this, it impacts the acceptance that we have for ourselves, the acceptance that we need. We need to have self-acceptance in order to show up for ourselves and create that life full of happiness and purpose. When we're carrying all the hurt with us and reliving all those past events, it's not serving us because we stop showing up for ourselves like we need to show up, right? So what I mean by that is not showing up because we've got all this self-doubt. So maybe we won't even apply for a position that we see, a job that we see posted that we've always wanted, and we know we could do it. One part of us knows, but the other part of us is still stuck on those stories, so we don't even apply for it. Or we stop going out because we're not going to meet our gang. We're not going to meet our people that we connect with. We're just going to be used and maybe even ridiculed, maybe called names, whatever it may be, because there's something wrong with us, right? These are all the stories. But we stop going out. Because of those stories going through our head, it takes our action away from going out, our motivation to go out. It creates, and when we do this, it creates negative thoughts. So it's like a negative cycle, right? It keeps feeding the hurt. So it becomes overwhelming. How do we get out of this? It's so overwhelming. I know exactly what it feels like. So visualizing unloading the hurt helps rewire our brain into allowing us to release it. Because that's what it feels like when we're trying to heal. It feels like we just cannot release all this hurt. And what are we going to do? That's how I felt that day when I was driving home after I dropped my son off from school. I'm like, what is wrong with me? Why can't I just release it? I know I did the work. I knew what I had to heal. I knew exactly what I had to heal. I knew where it come from. I didn't want to relive it every day, and I didn't want it anymore. It was so much weight. I just wanted to get rid of it. So we have to release it, and visualizing will help us rewire that brain. So we're not holding on to it. It's not allowing us to be defined by it anymore. So when I say rewiring the brain is over the past years when we've been hurt and we start believing the stories of this hurt that it's caused, whether it be that we're not good enough, we don't matter, we're not valued, whatever the hurt may be, that it created that story, it wires pathways in your brain so that you believe these stories to be true. We may say that we don't believe them, but subconsciously we do because it's wired a pathway in our brain to believe this. When we're visualizing actually getting rid of hurt. So in this visualization that I'm talking about, she walks us through picking up these dirty rocks, and we have to put them in a bag. And then we take this bag up to the top of the mountain. It might be really, really heavy, but we take it up to this top of this beautiful mountain and we throw it over the edge, and we visualize these rocks exploding. But the thing is, when we pick up these rocks, we have to name the hurt. We do this because it helps us visualize and rewire our brain so that at the time, right now, without healing, our brain thinks that that's what we want. We want to believe these stories. We want this to continue going because we've done it for so many years. So what we have to do is rewire those pathways and show our brain that we do not want this anymore, that we do not want to believe these stories. That's all they are stories, and we're going to get rid of them. This visualization really helped me do that because I struggled with being able to rewire my brain. It was like overpowering me and becoming overwhelming. So visualizing, it releases the hurt in whichever form that you choose to start doing it. So if you don't want to do this guided meditation, I do encourage you to check it out to give you an idea. I did it multiple times, but now I do my own where I don't have to pick up the dirty rocks anymore. I've moved on from that. So now I can just, in my meditation, I seldom ever use guided ones anymore. I just think of releasing my hurt, and I'll actually just lift my arms up like a wind blowing through me, and I'll start naming the things that I need to release. And as I do the wind, I just visualize in my brain that the wind is blowing it out, and I can see it going out the back of me. because it helps just rewire. And I've healed so much. I had issues with money, a lot of money trauma, they call it. And so I feared it. I had fear and a lot of hatred around money, and that causes lots of issues in life. Like right down to taking low-paying jobs all the time and thinking you're not worth it. And oh, that's like a whole video for another day. But visualizing, actually releasing all of this fear and hurt around money and actually visualizing it blowing right through my body and out, it does amazing things for helping you speed up that healing and rewiring those thoughts that you really want to get rid of. I hope this was helpful for you. Again, I really encourage you to check out that link that I put in the description for Colette Baron-Reid. I'm not affiliated. It's just a guided meditation she put on YouTube, completely free, but it was so beneficial for me. I share it with my coaching clients because of how much it has helped me, and it has helped them as well. They love it. So I hope this was helpful for you. Let me know in the comments your thoughts about this if you would like to. If not, I put my email in the description of this video. Feel free to email me. I love hearing from you guys. Thank you so much for sticking with me on this. I shared a lot about my story and it was scary, but I did it. So yay for me. That's a win. And I will see you guys all soon with another video. Again, thanks for joining me. See you soon. Bye for now.